host of the Gridiron.
Right? Don't you really miss Eli right about now? I mean, one of those things is just, sometimes when you got it so good, you don't appreciate it, right? I mean, like, you also kind of look at it, like when we had, maybe Coughlin here, right, with Eli, or you can also, if you're old enough or whatever, you can go back in time, and if you were around here with Parcells, we had it pretty good there. Maybe not 83 his first season, we were 3-12-1, but from 84 to 90, we were constant threat. We had 84, 85, we were building in 80, obviously 86, and of course 87 was the scab year. We started the season 0-5, and our season was pretty much over with. We lost the first 2 games of the season, and we lost all 3 of our scab games, so we started off 0-5. So then, of course, 88, we lost the final game of the season. If we'd beaten the Jets, we would have won the division. We would have made the playoffs, but we didn't. But then 89, there was the Flipper Anderson game, And then, of course, 1990, But, I mean, from 84 to 90 were very special years. But, I mean, like with Eli, you can complain or this and that or whatever you want, all this other stuff about, what his overall winning percentage was, his touchdowns, interception percentage, and all that stuff and everything. But tell you what, man, you look at what, with the Giants, and the quarterback situation. I mean, not only so much the quarterbacks, but I mean, it's just the injuries. It's like we can't even get guys to play a half. I mean, DeVito, right? I mean, he got injured. He had he played the one game against the Bucs. He got a forearm, and he couldn't go. Right. Then we put Lock in there, right, for 2 games, and he got so banged up in 2 games he couldn't go. So we had to put DeVito back in there, right, and he couldn't even make it a half, and he got a concussion. Right. Then we put Boyle in. Thankfully, he was able to, right, make it through the whole game, the rest of the game, without having to come out. But I'll tell you what, it's like, how the hell? Because Eli, after a while, we were having offensive line problems. I mean, we had the Fab Five, right, for quite a few years. But then in 2011, some of the guys they weren't all there. Harrow was gone. Some of the guys were getting banged up. I know Snee was there, McKenzie was there, but we started losing guys, and after a while, we were replacing them, but it wasn't the same line we had before. And after, Eli was just, getting hit a lot, right? And it's kind of like, how does he, every game, how does he make it? I mean, he never missed a game due to injury. Right, it was always a coach's decision to pull him out. Obviously, Daniel Jones' year decided to pull him out, right? But then Ben McAdoo decided to put good old Gino in there. Decided to bench, Eli because we weren't doing well. So he's like, well, we need a spark. So let me break Eli Manning's consecutive game streak so I could put Geno Smith in there. And Gino played okay, but he wasn't the answer, But it makes you, man. You go back and you got it here. I mean, let's see here. Go back to 2019, right? I mean, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Let's see. I know he wound up missing. I think he wound up missing a game or so due to injury. Let me see here. We let's see here. In 2020, let's see here. 2020, right? We had Daniel Jones, but he missed some time. Then we had to put Colt McCoy in there. right? That was I remember Colt McCoy wound up. We beat the Seahawks that year in the COVID year, right? But Daniel Jones missed some time. He got injured. Not Eli Manning, right? I mean, Eli Manning, second season, played every game. Every game. 2021. I mean, oh my God, remember this one? Remember this year? Oh my God. And again, right? Daniel Jones, Mike Lennon, Jake from State Farm. Remember those guys, right? Remember those guys? But once again, Daniel Jones injured. Couldn't even make it through a season, injured. And I said with Glennon and Jake Fromm, oh my God. Wow. Between Glennon and Fromm, they threw 5 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. My God. So that was 2021. I mean, that was just absolutely horrible. Now 2022 was the good year. That was a good year. Let's see, we had Daniel Jones played. Davis Webb played the final game of the season. Remember that? We went to Philadelphia, and Davis Webb scored. After that, he retired. Put him in there, right? We were 9-6-1. We lost the final game to the Eagles. Close, wound up being a close game. But Davis Webb was in there. I mean, of course, we had Tyrod Taylor in there. But Tyrod Taylor would get injured all the time. He was a walking injury. So was Daniel Jones. But I mean, that was the good year. Daniel Jones actually played all 16 games. That was a small miracle right there. Then you go to last year, right? Then you had Daniel Jones played in 6 games. I mean, he got injured twice, right? Remember, he got injured 2 different times, right? He got annihilated in the Miami game, had to come out. Then he got injured, which ended the season against the Raiders, right? Remember that? But then we had Tyrod Taylor in there. He played in 11 games. He started 5 of them. He missed time with injuries. And we had Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. He actually played 9 games that year. 9. He had 6 quarterback starts. I mean, of course, then you have this year. I mean, it's just, I said with Eli, you can even go back to Eli, even back to Ole Miss. As I said, you remember his, he didn't miss any time due to injury. Yeah, I mean, with the Giants, and you can think back maybe to the 2011 championship game. He was getting pummeled by the 49ers. He'd be getting off the ground, his helmet be on twisted. He'd be looking out his ear hole, looking down. Was that, after he threw a pass, was that completed? Well, I had no idea what was, kept getting up. I mean, the way the guys are getting concussions nowadays, right? Kept playing. So now if you go back, I mean, you look at his, even in college, right? That was in 2000 was his first year at Ole Miss. He was a freshman. He played 6 games, right? Now he couldn't have started because he only threw 33 passes in 6 games. But in 2001, as a sophomore, he played in 11 games. Now, I didn't look to see if that was every one of their games. I don't know. But Ole Miss played in 11 games as a sophomore, right? But then his final 2 seasons, a junior and senior, in 2002 and 2003, he played in 13 games. So, he really didn't miss any time at all in college. Then he comes here and plays in the pros from 2004 to 19. I mean, it's like, the only time he missed time was when the coach said, no, don't go in. We're going to put somebody else in there for you. Never missed time to injury. It's just mind-boggling. And we can't even get guys to play 30 minutes nowadays without getting injured. Play when you could still drive the quarterback into the turf. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I mean, the rules they've definitely softened because, I mean, I remember like back when I was watching in the 70s, I mean, it was just, there was one, I remember there's one, there's a bunch of them. I mean, one Larry Cole, Super Bowl 10, I believe it was. Yeah, Super Bowl 10. Larry Cole laid on Bradshaw. Bradshaw threw the pass. I think it was the one, I think it was the one down the middle. where Swan caught for a touchdown. It was either that or it was the one down by the sideline where Swan was out of bounds, jumped back in, caught it, got his 2 feet in bounds, something like that. But he threw the ball. I mean, he can look it up on YouTube or whatever. He threw the ball, and as Bradshaw's throwing the ball, you know, the camera angles from this side, right? So he's throwing the ball, right? But you can see past Bradshaw. Bradshaw's like in the background is Larry Cole, number 63 for the Cowboys, and he's coming at him, right? So as Bradshaw's throwing it, Bradshaw throws the ball. Cole just comes up, you know, after he lets go, Cole comes up there, you know, and like blasts him in his head. You know, oh man, you can just I mean, some of the, I can't remember the guy named Turkey Jones, I think it was. He was for Cleveland. This was in the mid-'70s. Bradshaw, I think, threw a pass. Turkey Jones went in for the Cleveland. Game was played in Cleveland because I know it was on grass. Picks Bradshaw up and flips him over and literally dumps him on his head. And, you know, I don't know how his head didn't, his neck didn't snap. It was just unbelievable. I remember there was another one. There was Johnny Unitas. This was obviously when he played against the Jets. So it wasn't the Super Bowl game. So it was probably early 70s. He played for the Colts against the Jets in 70, 71, and 72, because in 73 he went to the Chargers. But he threw a pass. He was playing against the Jets. He threw a pass, and he was looking at after he threw it, the guy for the Jets just took his arm and just slugged him upside. I mean, right across. There was no penalty on that. Nothing. That was football back then. Oh yeah, Leonard Marshall hit on Montana. I mean, you can go on and on and on. I mean, there was another one. I can't remember what year it was. Might have been 60. Can't remember what year it was. Johnny Unitas once again. Glenn Parker. He's a Hall of Fame guard for the Colts. Good. They were playing the Bears. They were losing to the Bears. There was like, I don't know, half a minute to go in the game or something like that. They were down, whatever it was. They were down by like 4 points or something like that. They were the 30, 40. They had to score a touchdown. And Johnny Unitas, they were playing on grass. Johnny Unitas threw a pass, and I think it was incomplete. Well, somehow Johnny Unitas only had one bar for face mask. So, I mean, this is just crazy. This is the way it was 60 years ago. So the guy, I can't remember who it was that beat Glenn Parker, the guard, but he whatever he did, he gave Johnny Unitas a shot or something like that, whatever. So Johnny Unitas, he was bleeding. His whole lip up here is all bleeding. And Glenn Parker, he's talking in this video. He's like, yeah, so what we did was we bent down. We got some mud from the field. We were pushing the mud up into his mouth to stop the bleeding. Nowadays, they got gloves on and they're putting gauze in here and this and swabbing it and disinfecting the whole area. And the guy, obviously nowadays, the guy has to come out of the game. Not then. No. Oh, absolutely not. So they're shoving mud up into Johnny. There's a picture of it, too, showing he's bleeding from his face. Just blood. You know what I mean? So I guess they're shoving mud up there to stop the blood, right? And the guard, Glenn Parker, said, I couldn't even look at him. He was bleeding so bad. I felt so bad. I couldn't even look at him. He was just so bad. So the doctor tells the Johnny Unitas, all right, come on, you got to come out. And Johnny Unitas said, Said, see how much time's left on the clock? I ain't coming out. Now, today, you have to come out. You would have to come out. You're bleeding. He's got blood on his, you got to come out, right? And you have to go into the blue tent, whatever. Not then. Nope. He said, no, I'm not. So you see how much climbs on it? He's freaking bleeding. He's got mud shoved up in his mouth to stop the blood. He's like, I'm not coming out. And he said, see how much time? It's like 20 seconds, something like that. So the very next play, he drops back the pass. I can't remember if it was Lenny Moore or Raymond Berry. Somebody hit him for a touchdown. They wound up winning the game. It was just crazy. Nowadays, I said, you got to come out. Back then, no, I'm not coming out. I mean, it's just crazy the way it was back then. Absolutely crazy. But you're right. I mean, I mean, I like it the way it is now because the amount of wear and tear the guys, all the games are playing and everything. Because when Johnny Unitas got injured that one time I was talking about with the blood, and they might have only been playing 12 games in the season, But I like it the way it is now, where they try to protect the guys to a certain extent, and all that and everything. Because protecting the quarterback is very, very, you like to see the hits, but it's important too because most of these teams if they lose their starting quarterback, the season's over. Just almost forget about it. But just goes to show you, you're talking about the Leonard Marshall hit. Jim Burt knocked out Joe Montana in 1986 in the divisional round game when we won 49-3. Man, you just kill some quarterbacks back then and just light them up. Oh my God. It's not like that nowadays. Yeah, not like that nowadays. And I said, you can't even touch the quarterbacks nowadays, and we're still losing quarterbacks. I'll tell you what, it makes you really, really appreciate Eli Manning a whole heck of a lot more.